Donald Trump cancelled a planned summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un based on what he called, quote-unquote, tremendous anger and open hostility. Here in the continent, an opposition party leader accused of defaming Zambian President Edgar Lungu has finally been released from prison after spending a month inside. This and much more coming up in the next 1 hour. But before that, let me introduce our guest tonight. I'm going to speak to Peter Biara Jack, who is the chairman, South Sudan Young Leaders Forum, also executive director for strategic analysis and research in Juba. Also, I'm going to speak to Mark Bichachu, who's a political communication strategist and also doubles up as a regional affairs analyst. Once again, this is Bottom Line Africa. Let me take you straight to our headlines tonight. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa to donate half his salary for greater good through the Mandela Foundation. French President Emmanuel Macron backs Rwandan Minister Louis Mushikiwabo to head the Association of French-speaking states. Ugandans turn to technology to provide safer border taxi rides. And tonight, we go beyond the celebrations to seek answers to provoking questions about the status of the African continent. Good evening once again. The program begins right now. On our Twitter poll tonight, we are asking you, what is your wish for the continent on this Africa Day? We'd like to know your wish for this continent on this Africa Day. Of course, the world is going to mark Africa Day tomorrow. It's a day that is marked up the 25th of May. We'd like to hear your feedback on that. Our Twitter handle is at KTN News. You can as well tweet me at Yusuf Ibra. The hashtag to use as always is Bottomline Africa. Let me now begin our bulletin from South Africa, where South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa has announced he will donate half his $290,000 salary to charity in honor of the country's first black leader, Nelson Mandela. Ramaphosa, who took over from Jacob Zuma in December and is facing a national election in 2019, announced the move in Parliament on Wednesday. The donations, he said, will form part of a new fund called Thumamina, which means send me, and will be managed by the Nelson Mandela Foundation. The billionaire also hopes others will follow in his footsteps, even if it was not with money. President of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, has made that announcement, of course, that received a lot of reactions there in South Africa.
Societies on the continent. Moreover, it underscores our confidence in the South Africans.
Now, French President Emmanuel Macron, in a move likely to strengthen France's ties with Rwanda on Wednesday, backed the Rwandan candidate to head the World Association of French-speaking Nations. After meeting in Paris with his Rwandan counterpart Paul Kagame, Macron said he supported a bid to appoint Foreign Minister Louis Mushikiwabo as Secretary General of the Organisation Internationale de la Francophonie. The Paris meeting comes after decades of tension between France and the East African country over the 1994 Rwandan genocide. Rwanda has accused France of complicity in the mass killings through its support of ethnic Hutu forces who carried out most of the slaughter. France has admitted it made mistakes but insists it never had a role in the massacre. More than 800,000 lives were lost during the violence, most of them ethnic Tutsis and some of them moderate Hutus. Wednesday's meeting is the third between Macron and Kagame in a year. Macron also said he will attend an AU summit in the Mauritanian capital of Nouakchott on July 1st and 2nd. Now, 3 patients infected with the deadly Ebola virus in Congolese city of Mbandaka, according to aid group, slipped out of an isolation ward there. Now, the 2 patients left the hospital on Monday before being located the following day. Now, the World Health Organization, that is WHO representative in Congo, said one was found dead and another was sent back to hospital and died shortly afterwards. Another patient left on Saturday but was found alive the same day and is under observation, Gray said, adding that it was important that people knew the risk of keeping sick relatives at home rather than bringing them to hospital. An Ebola awareness community group has been set up in the city to educate locals about how the disease is transmitted.
My job is about awareness, to inform people about the fact that there is the epidemic in the community. So this is an awareness exercise and also a way of explaining to people how the disease is transmitted.
It is good that the community awareness group is coming to our homes to talk to us about the epidemic. They told us to respect the hygienic recommendations, that if someone is sick, to bring them to hospital, to not shake hands with people when we greet them, to wash our hands all the time. As you know, here we are used to shaking hands with people when we greet them.
Now, with 30 reported deaths, the Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo is on an epidemiological knife edge, the World Health Organization says. Now, Deputy Director General of Emergency Preparedness and Response, Dr. Peter Salama, said that the next few weeks will be critical in determining whether the outbreak will spread to urban areas or if it will be contained. There are currently 3 separate chains of transmission, one of which is centered on Mbandaka, a busy trading hub which lies on the Congo River, potentially connecting the outbreak to Congo's capital, Kinshasa, and surrounding countries. And now the death of 5 healthcare workers also signals potential for further amplification of the spread of the disease.
Saudi Arabia.
I used the phrase yesterday that we're on the epidemiological knife edge of this response. The next few weeks will really tell if this outbreak is going to expand to urban areas or if we're going to be able to keep it under control. And you can see we're following 3 separate chains of transmission. One associated with a funeral that took place in a neighboring town of Bikoro. One associated with a visit to a healthcare facility more than 80 kilometers away in the small village of Iboko. And one where we're still gathering data on that's related to a church ceremony. So these are 3 separate chains of transmission we're following, and each one has the potential to expand if not controlled.
So I'm pleased to announce, therefore, to you now that our Secretary of State for International Development has this morning informed the UK Parliament that we will immediately provide an additional £5 million to WHO's Ebola appeal. This is money. Thank you. It's money that's fully flexible, a demonstration of our confidence that WHO will spend it wisely.
Now, the East and Central African regions are on a high alert following the Ebola outbreak in the DRC. From Tanzania, our correspondent Rajabu Hassan tells us more about the country's state of preparedness.
Mlipuko wa ugonjwa hatari wa Ebola katika nchi ya DR Congo, nchi ambayo ni jirani kabisa na taifa hili la Tanzania, umezishitua mamlaka zinazohusika hapa nchini. Tayari mamlaka zimeanza kuchukua tahadhari.
Kwa hiyo Tanzania hatuna mgonjwa wa Ebola hadi hivi sasa ninavyoongea na nyinyi. Hatua gani ambazo serikali inaendelea kuchukua pamoja na washirika wetu ikiwa ni pamoja na shirika la afya duniani? Moja, tumeimarisha sana mifumo yetu ya ufuatiliaji wa magonjwa. Nadhani hata nyinyi mkitembelea sasa hivi pale airport mtakuta sasa hivi tumeweka scanners. Watu wote wanaokuja nchini tunawakagua.
Hata hivyo, baadhi ya mataifa ya Afrika Mashariki yameanza kuchukua tahadhari dhidi ya mlipuko wa ugonjwa wa Ebola ambao unaripotiwa huko DR Congo. Lakini inagundulika kwamba ni watu wachache sana katika nchi hii ya Tanzania wanafahamu madhara na namna ambavyo ugonjwa wa Ebola unaweza kuambukizwa. Hivyo mamlaka zinazohusika hazina budi kukaza uzi zaidi katika kutoa elimu dhidi ya ugonjwa wa Ebola kwa wananchi wake. Rajabu Hassan, KT News, Dar es Salaam.
Asante sana, Rajabu Hassan, that is our correspondent from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Now let me take you over to the most populous country in Africa, that is Nigeria. And Facebook has launched its first community hub for innovative startups in Lagos, Nigeria, booming economic capital. The American tech giant aims to train 50,000 young entrepreneurs, creative or developers in digital technology. The hub, which is equipped with modern technologies, also boasts of several workspaces. Facebook, which claimed that there are 26 million daily active users of the platform in Nigeria, explained that it was keen on enabling a robust technology ecosystem in the country.
What happened? They're still there. I think you can still organize events.
Yeah. I think okay. Huh? I just have to be somewhere.
It's really about an investment in Nigeria, so it's an investment in the tech ecosystem. It's also about supporting businesses, developers, creatives, entrepreneurs with training. We'll specifically created training that will give them the digital skills they need to succeed. The 50,000 people trained are going to be people who our hubs and all of our partners engage and help us bring in. We've already begun progress on those goals. I think we've trained 3,000 SMEs, and in terms of tracking, I mean that's something that we're going to work directly with our partners to ensure that we're held accountable to our goal.
For a space like this, what's important to us is that they create the opportunities, that they create the employment.
Now, in Uganda, motorcycle taxis, known locally as boda bodas, provide a quick and cheap way to get around. But the drivers can be notoriously reckless, contributing to road accidents and injuries. A local software developer and a former boda boda driver joined forces, hoping to transform the market with their safe boda boda app. From Kampala, Halima Thumani reports on what is being called Uganda's Uber for motorcycle taxis. Take a look.
With endless traffic in Kampala, boda bodas are often the best option for quickly getting where you need to go. But Ugandan police say crashes from the popular and unregulated mode of transport have killed at least 7,000 people in the last 3 years. The Mulago National Referral Hospital gets about 8 patients a day who are victims of boda boda wrecks.
80% and above sometimes are trauma. 90% of these are boda accidents. We actually fail to operate patients with brain tumors because of the overwhelming head injury patients we get.
Former boda boda driver Ricky Rapper Thompson wants to improve motorcycle safety. He co-developed the Safe Boda mobile application.
The problem is you don't know who to ride with, and you don't know who is the right driver, and you don't know who is trained, and you don't know who is fit to be on the road.
Riders can hail a ride using the app. Safe Boda screens its drivers and gives them road safety training. They must obey traffic lights and pay attention to pedestrians. They also provide passengers with a clean hairnet and helmet, a rare safety measure in Kampala.
Since I joined Safe Boda, a lot has changed. Because now I've become even more patient than I was before on the road. I even give way to both cyclists, even motor vehicles. I allow them go because I know the most important is to reach the destination safely.
Despite offering safer and cheaper service, the application has struggled to attract users in the 4 years since it was developed. Ugandans without smartphones do not have the option, while others prefer to haggle for their rides in person. Halima Afmani for VOA News, Kampala.
Thank you, Halima, for that report. And it's exactly 22 minutes past the hour. We're going to take a very short break. But before that, let me reintroduce our guest once again. We have Mark Bichachi as well as Peter Biara-Jack in studio. We are going to have a conversation around Africa Day that is going to be marked tomorrow globally. But even as we take that break, here is Destination Africa.